If I'm black, okay, I'm white, whatever, but it doesn't make me born racist. Because my ancestors' fault, it's not my problem.
Thank you so much. You be safe. Good luck to you guys. Again,
all right,
if
Christina,
what's going on, we'll keep you updated.
Okay, we're going to interrupt you and now bring in local Congressman Brad Sherman. You are in the U.S. Capitol building on lockdown. Congressman Sherman, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, what's the situation like?
It's good to be with you. I wish I was in the San Fernando Valley. We're on lockdown here. I'm in my office. Hour and a half ago, I was in the Capitol, which is right across the street. And, of course, we wouldn't use that street. We have tunnels that are supposed to be secure. This is the first time in many decades when people have pushed their way through where the armed police with machines to detect weapons and metal, and have taken over control of the Capitol. And they'd stop when Trump tells them to stop.
Well, we are very happy to hear that you are safe and sound. It sounds like in your office. It sounds very calm there. What was it like for you to actually evacuate?
Well, this is America in 2021. It was a sad day for our democracy, and I fear that this will set a precedent, and other groups will feel that they can storm the Capitol.
We are seeing reports right now that there are still some lawmakers inside the House chamber. Can you confirm that?
I would expect that would be true, but they have suspended the debate. We have asked for the D.C. National Guard to come here and clear the Capitol, and my guess is that will happen. Keep in mind, though, guardsmen are not full-time professionals at dealing with difficult situations and perhaps angry and violent and armed protesters. So this is not the way things are supposed to work, but we need to restore order in the Capitol.
Right. We're also seeing that Homeland Security is sending additional federal agents to the Capitol to help squash this scene, this violence. What's next? Where do we go from here?
Well, my guess is that within an hour or two, law and order will be restored at the Capitol, and then we'll proceed with this process, which should be a rather short ceremony, but will instead take us about 15, 20 hours to go through and open the envelopes from the various states with the Electoral College votes. I think the Republican Party died today. I think the party of Reagan died today. And I think the cause of death is suicide. You have one party that's McConnell and Pence and Schwarzenegger, etc., and you have another party that's Trump and QAnon and the Ku Klux Klan, perhaps. And I don't know how they put those two halves together. Trump captured the Republican Party and has destroyed it.
Well, it's one thing for us to look at these live pictures in Washington, D.C., and obviously it's remarkable, extraordinary for you to be a part of it and to be watching it. I trust that you are watching live pictures from your office and you are literally steps away from the chaos there. How does that make you feel?
I believe that the Capitol Police will restore order. I'm surprised that these rioters were able to breach the perimeter. And I'm more concerned for the country over the coming months and years than I am for members of Congress in the coming hours. But this is this is unprecedented. I think you'd have to go back to the Civil War era to see the Capitol under this kind of siege.
Are you just spending the rest of your time now in the office for your foreseeable future at this point?
Well, I expect there to be votes on the floor of the House every 3 hours. And, of course, this riot has delayed that. But I wouldn't be surprised if 3 hours from now we had a vote. So I will stay here. I've got my blanket, I've got my pillow, and I expect to be here for about another 24 hours.
So you are optimistic that this will go on this afternoon, huh?
I think we get our job done, and I think the majority of this crowd will get their emotions worked out and then be susceptible to law enforcement. And I don't know whether among the crowd are those with guns and bombs, and so we'll have to see if it goes that next step. But we've always had times with demonstrators outside the buildings, and if it can be kept outside, then we can do our work inside.
What is your message to the protesters today?
That if you believe in law and order, you need to obey the law. Protest outside the buildings. Don't use force to push your way through a checkpoint where a police officer has to determine whether to go for his or her weapon or to let you trespass. Don't put a police officer in that position. And if you do, don't be surprised at either outcome.
I'm assuming that you are not seeing our live pictures here at Fox 11, but we're seeing literally protesters on the Senate floor, Trump flags around them. It's pretty remarkable to see that they had access, they got in, and they essentially ransacked the Senate floor.
The Capitol Police had to determine whether they did not have sufficient numbers.
Right.
The D.C. National Guard was mobilized but was not deployed here to the Capitol, and that was clearly an underestimation of what Trump's minions would be willing to do. And we'll have to see whether their restrained approach gives us a casualty-free or at least a death-free day. But I've gone through those checkpoints many times, and there are people with machine guns on many occasions at the Capitol there to make sure that nobody walks in except legally. And they clearly needed more personnel if they were going to deal with this. And I think it was predictable. We've seen this coming for days. So I expected that outside the Capitol things would be in disorder. I am surprised to see the Senate floor ransacked.
Yeah, and you attribute that to just being simply outnumbered?
Outnumbered and a decision not to go for the weapon. You expect law enforcement to be outnumbered, but when they get outnumbered 20, 50 to 1, that's when they have to either acquiesce to violent trespass or they have to go for their weapons. And I'm sure that we'll have plenty of days to analyze that, but we need a lot more law enforcement here at the Capitol in the next hour.
Right. The White House press secretary saying that the National Guard is on its way. What do you make of President Trump's tweet within the last 30 minutes, his last one, asking everyone at the Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence, saying that we are the party of law and order?
He deliberately is telling his people, occupy the Capitol, do what you're doing, just don't kill anybody. And that's not the message. He needed a tweet to say, withdraw from the buildings, follow the law. And his refusal to do that makes him fully responsible, as he is for all of today's violence.
Do you think that he will send that tweet?